Some say size doesn't matter. Most women say it does. In sports, size can play a factor in an athlete's success, as in some cases, simply being bigger or stronger than an opponent can create an unstoppable force. But typically, size isn't everything, as huge players have failed in almost every league, and small players have enjoyed much success. For the purpose of this video, however, succeeding on the field of play has nothing to do with what you're about to see. I want to introduce you to the tallest and shortest players to have ever played their respective sports, soccer included. Welcome to another episode of Numbers Game, the long and the short of it. We're going to start in basketball, where size clearly matters, and I'm talking more about bulk versus height. Shaquille O'Neal shoved people around in the post like an offensive lineman, and Shawn Bradley got tossed around down there like a Kardashian. You don't have to be tall to be effective, as Charles Barkley was only 6 foot 6 inches. But who was the tallest player ever to get down on the low block in the NBA? It's actually a tie between two guys, both at 7 feet 7 inches. George Mirzan and, of course, Manute Bol. First of all, you have to love George Mirzan. This dude is a clown, always playing jokes, not afraid of who he is. He even starred in a full-length feature film with Billy Crystal called My Giant.
Do you want to smell like me?
That's why he was average, putting up 9.8 points and 6.4 rebounds a game over 6 seasons, eventually retiring due to injury. And now he makes commercials like this. I love this guy. Then you have Manute Bol, the Sudanese-born string bean who played much longer in the NBA, 13 seasons. This dude was 7 feet 7 and weighed 210 pounds. I mean, you can find plenty of people in this world that weigh more than 2 bills, but to be 7 feet 7 inches tall, I mean, well, you see the pictures. The most interesting thing about Bol was in 1988-1989, playing for the Warriors, he hit 20 out of 91 threes and hit a career 43 threes in his lifetime. That sweet, sweet stroke from downtown Manute. Now, the shortest player ever was a Monstar named Tyrone Muggsy Bogues, who stood an astonishingly small 5 foot 3 inches and was actually Manute Bol's teammate at one time, creating an on-court dichotomy that was asking for the universe to explode like dividing by zero. Muggsy used tight ball handling skills, speed, and efficient passing to grind out a long 15-year career with the Hornets, Bullets, Warriors, and finally the Raptors in 2001. The most amazing statistic I could find, he had 39 career blocks. I mean, getting swatted is one thing, but to get blocked by a guy who is 5 foot 3, ouch. Okay, let's look at soccer, because all I hear when I do these videos is about how I leave soccer out. Now, I don't have much of a standard to go off here, as there are many professional leagues and you can't tell me one is better than the other. So my standard for this exercise is, if you ever played soccer in a professional league for money, you qualify. For the tallest, we have Belgian goaltender Christophe van Hout, who stands an astonishing 6 foot 10 inches high. He's played mostly in the Belgian league, and his height makes it so he doesn't even have to jump to cover the crossbar. It's amazing how outside of the NBA, there isn't much need for outright height in sports, as just being tall in football doesn't necessarily mean you're a great keeper. For the shortest, there are many professional players below 5'7". In fact, we all know one of the greats of the game is diminutive forward Leo Messi. But the shortest professional ever is 5 foot tall Brazilian Elton Gomez, who played for the Saudi club Al Fatah and is currently on Al Qadisiyah. Did I say that right? Al Qadisiyah. Hey. Of course, this little guy was a fan favorite. He had amazing dribble skills, and let's face it, he looks like a toddler out there among men, and it's really cute and stuff. The NFL. How tall do you have to be taller than Edward Too Tall Jones? You have to be 7 feet tall, which is what Richard Sly was. Sly, the gargantuan defensive tackle from Newberry, North Carolina, played in one season for the Oakland Raiders in 1967 and was, well, tall. The shortest player ever is a man by the name of Jack Shapiro, who was 5 foot 1 inches tall, but that was 80 years ago for a defunct franchise. For the modern era, it's Trendon Holiday, who stands a stout 5'5" and will run past you like a guest on Maury Povich, who just got told he was the father.
Mike, you are the father.
Holiday is a punt and kick return specialist who won a BCS national championship at LSU, scored 4 NFL TDs, and ran a 4.4340 at the combine. Also, Holiday looks like someone left Michael Vick in the dryer too long. I mean, you see it, right? Now, as a league, the NHL probably allows the most room for players to be of smaller size and still be very effective in the sport. Like soccer, the ball/puck is usually on the ground, so height isn't as important as speed, skill, and technique. That doesn't mean you can't be tall and good, as the tallest player ever in the history of the NHL is Slovakian/alien Zdeno Chara, who stands an amazing 6'9" tall. Plus, if you add skates, that probably pushes him up over 7 feet, so basically this guy is a giant mobile tree on the ice. Now, for the shortest active, you have Nathan Gerbe, who is 5'5", but the shortest ever was a goaltender by the name of Roy Waters, who was 5'3" and played in 8 NHL seasons from 1925 through 1937. And he wasn't a slouch either, as the 135-pound netminder won the Hart Trophy in 1928 for the Pittsburgh Pirates, the first goalie to ever do so, and he won the Vezina in 1931. Good job, little buddy. You stopped all the goals. And now for my last sport, baseball, which has the best short guy story ever. Trust me, it's worth it. But first, the tallest player ever is retired pitcher Jon Roush, who stood 6'11" and was a journeyman reliever for 9 MLB teams, the longest stint being with the Expos/Nationals from 2004 to 2008. He also once got to face Jose Altuve, currently the shortest major leaguer, about 4 years ago, so here is your moment of zen. Now for the shortest major leaguers, this is maybe one of my favorite stories of all time. So if you're a baseball fan and are over 30, you probably know this tale because you've seen Ken Burns' baseball. And you probably also know how Tom Emanski helped his team win back-to-back AAU national championships.
Revolutionary new training techniques that have produced baseball world's back-to-back AAU.
Anyways, if you're not a baseball fan or are too young to have heard this wonderful yarn, I'm pretty much about to blow your mind. We have to have some background here. There was once a man by the name of Bill Veeck who owned the St. Louis Browns. Now, Bill Veeck was a Chicago native who would end up owning 4 big league clubs in his lifetime. Veeck was a showman. In fact, he was like the David Blaine of owners. He came up with giveaways, promotions. He once let the fans pick the decisions on the field, and also is the man who came up with Demolition Disco Night, which was a major backfire. I seriously can do a whole video about what a genius this guy was. In order to continually top himself, Veeck had a brilliant idea. In 1951, Veeck contacted a booking agency to hire a former welder to become a big league ball player. He would be used in spot duty but would play a very important role. Considering this player had never even played baseball at any level, this was an unusual signing. The reason why Eddy Goodell, 26 years old at the time, was signed to a big league contract? He was 3'7" tall, and Veeck brought him in for one purpose: to get on base. Brilliant if you think about it. Veeck was so smart he signed Goodell to a contract on late Friday afternoon and knew the league office wouldn't review it for 2 more days until Monday. He found a uniform from a bat boy, one of the player's kids, and put the number 1/8 on the back and waited all weekend for his moment to arrive. And on Sunday, August 19th, 1951, probably the most bizarre history of ever was made. In the second half of a doubleheader in the bottom of the first inning, Browns manager Jim Taylor chose to have Goodell pinch hit for the leadoff batter, Frank Saucier. Immediately, the opposing manager went ape nuts asking WTF was this, but Veeck had given a copy of Goodell's contract and their active roster to Taylor. With nothing to dispute, Goodell came up to the plate. Veeck had told Goodell he was going to literally kill him if he swung the bat. In fact, he told Goodell that he took a life insurance policy out on him, and if he swung, he'd be waiting on the roof of the stadium with a rifle. Veeck might have been a showman, but he won't stupid. Of course, Goodell walked him 4 pitches, with pitcher Bob Kane having difficulty composing himself, as any normal human being would be asking why Are they currently pitching to a midget in a big league ball game? Goodell trotted to first base in probably the cutest take your base trot in the history of the game. Immediately, the league shut this down, saying Veeck had made a mockery of the game. Veeck, the ultimate troll, said they ought to question the validity of Phil Rizzuto's height. Bill Veeck, man, he would be an internet legend today. He kept it Brockmire. What's even more amazing is what happened to Goodell 10 years later. Apparently, Goodell was a heavy drinker and kind of a jerk. On June 18th, 1961, Goodell was in a bowling alley in Chicago, his hometown. Allegedly, a stiff argument broke out because some people in the bar did not believe that Goodell had been a Major League Baseball player. And I mean, I get it. Before the internet, people had to take your word for it. And apparently, Goodell's word wasn't shit as the argument escalated and got ugly. Goodell was followed home and beaten to death. What a bizarre ending to a bizarre tale. I mean, what piece of shit beats up a midget? Why would you fight a midget? That's a lose-lose situation right there. Lose to a midget, you lost to a midget. Beat up a midget, you beat up a midget. If you don't do anything today, don't fight a midget. Please keep that stat to 0. I'm 5 Points Vids, and this was Numbers Game.